Hi, today's good person to know is Lars. He's Global Director for Social Media, YouTube and Search at LEGO, and he focused his talk on social media and said it's about being intimate and having close relationships with your consumers. At LEGO, they do this by, one, identifying their social needs, which Lars says has to do with building together, i.e. working in teams, and pride of creation, i.e. showing off what you've just made. 2, creating value. Lars says that this is achievable in 4 different ways. Now, I was particularly fascinated to hear how Lars managed to build a global campaign in less than 15 minutes. And he also managed to do another just out of $100. Yes, $100. He basically asked his team to empty out their pockets, and that was to be their budget. They developed a character called George and wanted to know how far George would travel. And indeed, George travelled around the world. So you'll see, you don't have to spend vast sums in order to do your campaign. Some things are free, and social media is definitely one of those. According to Lars, if you can capitalize on the latest trends and your social needs, you can develop a storyline that indeed can go global. For their high affinity users, they've developed a platform called Lego Ideas, and I have already done a video of this, so I'll put the link in the description box. But if you are a keen Legoer and want to have a share of Lego's profits, then it's the ideal place for you to go. I hope you enjoy this video and that it inspires you to think more globally for less time and less money, because it can be done, as we've seen in this video. So I hope you enjoy it, and thank you for watching.
Today I'll talk about social media. The situation is all about intimacy. It's all about actually recognizing that there are another person in the room, that you give your undevoted attention to that person. And this is how we want to be as a brand. We want to be this close to our consumer. So we want to basically create a connection, and then from that connection build a relationship with that consumer. What I'll focus on is how we identify social needs. So that is our entry point into that social conversation. How we, based on those needs, create value for the consumer and also for the company, and also how we manage to do that in real time, or actually how we do it in the right time. And for a business, we really need to understand those social needs if we want to succeed in social media. We have 2 social needs that I'll highlight that we have identified through research, but also through a lot of campaigns, a lot of engagement, that these are social needs that we can build campaigns on. So it's about building together, more fun if you do it together with others, and it's also the pride of creation. So the pride of actually sharing stuff that you have built. A competition that actually another company called First Electronics, that they do all around the world. They have 70,000 teams competing, building Lego robots, competing against each other, and you can see kind of how immersed these kids are in the competition. Pride of creation and showing stuff. If you search on Lego, on Google, Flickr, or whatever, you find literally millions of images of people showing their creations. Building together and the pride of creation, how do we actually then build a campaign? How do we drive engagement on this? The campaign we did 2 years ago during Christmas, to bring down the barrier as low as possible. We didn't want to create an augmented reality app. We didn't want to create like the barrier of downloading an app. We wanted to work with things that people had already in their hands, and then try to connect parents and kids and Lego.
The challenge. To create brand awareness and show an emotional connection between the Lego brand and key family moments during December. Our solution was simply to add another layer of play to the Lego experience. With the Lego Happy Home Play campaign, we gave people inspiration to build 5 different Lego figures, all part of a fairy tale, and invited them to take pictures of their creations in fun and surprising real-life locations. We even gave it a name, Augmented Reality. The campaign then ended with a short film, and we used Lego's presence in social and digital media. The results. During 3 intense campaign weeks, people from 119 different countries, spreading from Japan, the US, Singapore, and Germany to French Polynesia, submitted pictures to the campaign website. Feedback we received through comments and mail, we clearly managed to create an emotional bond between Lego and the people participating.
Our social media strategy is based on identifying our customers' social needs. So we create value in 4 different ways. We can increase sales by doing social media. We can build the brand affinity. We can create value by improving our marketing efficiency. And lastly, we can also create value or make sure we don't destroy the value in the company by mitigating risks and do damage control on social media. So we have a lot of educational programs, a lot of systems in place, a lot of processes, and based on that, we do the campaigns, or as we call it, we set the scene for engagement. How can we increase sales? We reached out to some fans, or to one fan, and asked if we could use some of his images. And they could be used as a social vehicle, both to drive brand engagement and build the brand affinity, but also to drive this promotion. We did this, connected the promotion with this image, people to our e-commerce site, and within 6 hours we sold for more than $10,000 of Lego sets, which is pretty good because I spent 15 minutes on this while I was in transit in an airport, just reaching out to a fan, connecting it, posting it. We are able to scale this, and we have scaled it since we did it 2 years ago, by being very focused on the opportunities we actually have for connecting a social content with a purchase opportunity. So how can we improve our marketing efficiency? So this was the very first campaign I did with Lego. As you can see, the budget wasn't that big at that point. So I basically asked people to empty their pockets on the table, figure out how much do we have in the room at that point, and that was our budget. And the reason why I wanted to use that kind of constraint, that you have a tiny amount of money, is that then you start thinking differently. Instead of focusing on the product, we focused on this character called George, because he's likable and we built kind of a storyline around him. We asked people on Facebook basically to build George. Find your own bricks, build this character and make him travel the world. So we asked people to build George and place him in an awesome place and show us their images. 20 minutes later, George showed up in Athens, Spain, Hollywood, San Francisco. Other users saw that and thought that George would actually marry someone himself. The unfortunate thing that happened that his ex-girlfriend showed up. And as you can see, the relationship is complicated. We could see that if we use the trends and if we use the social needs about building together and the product creation, we could make, for $100, we could make a product and a storyline travel the world. If you target the high affinity users, it's different from targeting the low affinity. So we have an offering for the high affinity users, so these are very hardcore fans of Lego. So if you have an idea, guys, if you have an idea for Lego, for an awesome product, you can upload it on this site called Lego Ideas. Each quarter we select one of the products and then we bring it to the markets. We share some of the revenue with the idea creator. So the low affinity consumer, that's a bit more difficult because we can preach to the converted, but it's difficult to convince about the benefits of Lego if she doesn't know what it is. So for instance, we do it on the one-to-one social networks. When we posted this, so we had 10 million that saw the first post we did around this stickers that you can download on Facebook, and we had 1 million people installing the sticker package on the first day that we launched it. Finally, how do we actually make sure that we can show up at the right time? We have people doing this. This was actually all done by Lego fans. We try to stay very humble, to live up to expectations. We want to create connections and build relationships and also commit to it when it's really important.